I'm from RideWise and I support Laura and Sarah in chairing this meeting. As you'll know, this is a collective of people from across different backgrounds, different kind of areas of specialism. But what we all have in common is this kind of keen focus on supporting people to walk. So some of that walking might be around fitness, or it might be about transport, or it might be about accessing to open spaces, but across all of those different areas, walking is the one thing that we've all got in common. And so the agenda for today is on your screens. And Sarah, I can't see because I'm sharing my screen. I can't see whether we have Alice in the room yet. We do, yeah. So in the agenda today, which we've got quite a bit on here, I'm going to kind of rush through the intro as much as I can, but please do pop your hand up if there's any questions. We've got a presentation around Lime bikes from Alice Pleasant, who's going to talk us through the new on-street e-bike scheme. We're also going to have a breakout session around the new East Midlands Combined County Authority, and then an update from Laura about the Walking Festival. So lots of stuff that hopefully we can get both your best practice on so that we can start to share, but also learn things from our presenters like Alice at Lime. I wonder whether, while people are still coming in, if you could pop a quick intro to yourself in the chat so that other people could see it, that would be really great. So who you are and which area you represent. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Alice. So Alice is from Lime Bikes. You'll have seen the Lime Bikes across the city, I'm sure. When we took feedback from previous strategic partnership meetings, there was a real interest in learning more about micromobility and how that's impacting walking, and how it's going more generally. And so we reached out to Alice to give us an update about the Lime Bike scheme in Nottingham and any broader learning. So Alice, thank you so much for joining us. If I can kind of bring you to the fore, I'll stop sharing that presentation now, and hand over to you if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks very much for inviting me here today. It's really good to see you all and great to see enthusiasm for active travel in Nottingham. So I have a short presentation, and now, if you want to ask some questions or we've got some time, then happy to do so. So just give me a second while I share my screen. Okay, can everyone see that on full screen? I can't see you now, so I have to sort of assume.
No, nothing's, unless anybody else can see it, I can't see a presentation yet.
I can see it.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, I can see it as well.
Maybe it's me.
Majority rules. We're going ahead.
Yep, that's fair enough.
Okay, great. So short agenda. So I'll intro Lime, talk about Lime in Nottingham, talk about how we do parking and enforcement, because I know that's always an issue that comes up, our community engagement locally, and then some sort of stats on UK ridership, which I know that Sarah expressed was an interest point for this group. So introducing Lime. So for those who don't know, Lime is a world leading and world's most experienced shared electric bike provider. We also provide electric scooters in cities as well. We were founded in 2017 and launched in the UK in 2018. And our mission is to sort of help build a future of transport that's shared, affordable, and carbon free. So we're in over 280 cities worldwide, 30 different countries, and we operate over 250,000 vehicles. And we've delivered over 300 million zero emission trips. I'm sure, to be honest, at the end of this year, much higher. And it's, we're really, really proud to be offering this service in Nottingham, really, really proud to be able to push forward and help bring transport modes to cities that can provide sustainable transport choices. Now, in terms of our UK operations, so we currently hold contracts with a number of local authorities, including Nottingham, but also we're in Oxford, we're in Salford and Greater Manchester, we're in London, and we're in Milton Keynes. We operate a number of bike and scooter schemes across those cities. We're also looking to expand further this year as well across the UK. And we've delivered in the UK since launch over 30 million trips, and we have over 20,000 vehicles. Now, in terms of our service in Nottingham, so the story so far, we launched in May 2023, and we have around 1,000 bikes across the city centre. We run slightly less than 1,000 due to there's issues with warehouse backlogs, repairing bikes, etc., etc. But that's the number of vehicles that we have in Nottingham at the moment. Since our launch, we've delivered over 500,000 rides, and we have over 90,000 users, and we've saved 26 tons of CO2. We've calculated that. And if you don't recognise, on the right-hand side, Joe Beeson from the council on a bike giving us his full endorsement. So that's great. This is our vehicle. So it's a Gen 4 e-bike. So this is some of the things that we have that makes the bike stand out. So a powerful motor, smart lock. The bike is battery, is pedal assist electrics. Basically, as soon as you ride it, the pedal assist comes in. It's limited at 15.5 miles per hour. The bike has, is highly visible. It has lights on it, all the sort of robust security as well for anti-theft, because it's got to stay on the street basically for a very long time. And then one of the key features is we have swappable batteries. So the bike's are charged with renewable energy, but instead of when the battery runs low, us bringing the bike back to the warehouse, what we do is we have a team that go and swap batteries, which makes the service so much more efficient. And it means that bikes never run out of charge because we're constantly swapping them with our team in Nottingham. Now, in terms of media milestones, things that have happened since we've, launched, this is some of the coverage that we've had, but we've done some expansion as we've increased the rides. We've worked with the council to get parking racks in as well. Those are now going to be shared with Dot, the e-scooter provider. And yeah, we've had some really, really positive coverage as part of that. Now, in terms of events, we're very open to doing events in the city, whether that's, bike training we're trying to work on right now with British Cycling, but also drop-ins, giving out helmets, doing things at the university, just promoting the service more generally and get people onto bikes. So you can see here some examples of where we've done that. You can recognise some spots in the city. Now, in terms of parking and operations, so this is a bit of context for those that maybe don't know how the service works. So you use the service via an app. You download the app and you basically hire a vehicle through it. All the vehicles are fitted with GPS tracking that monitors where it is at all times. So you select the vehicle that you want to hire through the app, and then when you end the journey, you then end it through the app as well in a parking spot. This is geofencing is then used as part of that. We also assign things like low speed, no ride zones as part of the geofencing. So we can basically change the speed of the bike. We can stop where it goes. And that's sort of how we've built our service. And everything we do in terms of zoning, we work with the council to assign. So like whether that's, the park estate is a good example where vehicles can't be left. Or there's some areas where, we need a go slow zone because it's maybe a park or something. So there's plenty of things that we can do with the geofencing. The geofencing is stored on the bike. So basically it means that it's able to be updated very, very quickly, but it's a very fast reaction time from the vehicle as well when it enters those zones. We also have a service zone around Nottingham. So when our service zone ends, the power cuts off. The vehicle doesn't stop, but the power cuts off. It's very, very hard to ride without the power. And then in terms of parking, so we understand the importance of delivering responsible parking and preventing pavement obstructions in the city. We have over 400 designated places in the app and on the ground markings or in these physical bays where users have to end their journey. We basically enforce parking with a number of different mechanisms. So we do things such as mandatory user entry photos. So every time you use a service, if there's like a photo of how you've left your vehicle at the end of the trip, they're reviewed by AI on the day. And if you've left it inappropriately, left it outside the service, outside the parking bay, you're warned and fined. You're also warned and fined if you don't take a photo as well. And if you abandoned the vehicle, for example. We also communicate with riders through the app. So we send out notifications on like how to ride, how to basically encourage them to wear helmets, how to park appropriately. Because a lot of what we know is that basically 80% of our users don't reoffend after the first warning. A lot of it is like a service that's brand new or people using a service for the first time in a new transport mode. There's a lot of education and getting them to learn how to use that service. So for example, we basically have a program of incentives, warnings, fines. If a user is fined more than 5 times, they're permanently banned. But as I said, most of what we see is users getting fined or warned and then changing their behavior once that is, it's got through to them, let's say. Now, in terms of community engagement, we have 2 sort of mechanisms that we're really focused on, that we're always open to opportunity. But we offer a Lime access scheme that provides unlimited 50% discounts on our pay per minute price to key workers, students, concession pass holders, those and job seekers, etc. So that's something we're really proud of. And we also have a Lime Hero partnership in Nottingham with Emmanuel House, a local charity supporting homelessness. Basically, what we do is we ask our riders to round up their ride to the nearest pound and donate the difference, and we also promote them on our app. So we're constantly sort of pushing out them as a charity and trying to do what we can to support them. And then just finally, I wanted to talk a little bit about demographics and survey data. So Sarah said that there was a few things that the group would like to know. We have a limited amount of survey data for Nottingham, mainly because it's quite hard to collect, but we do have some wider UK stats as well. So I've sort of pulled an accumulation of different things so you can see some of the patterns that we see. So nationally, we know the average age of our riders is 34, which I think people are always quite surprised by. But we also know that just over 75% are men. So we did a report a couple of years ago in November that I wrote with a colleague on the gender pedal gap, which I'll put in the chat after this because it's a really interesting piece of work on the barriers women face to cycling. So we know that a lot of our service is ridden by men, but we're doing more to get women into cycling. A lot of those barriers are around confidence, around feeling safe, and 9 in 10 women face barriers to cycling in the UK. So yeah, it's a really interesting sort of gender split, I think, and there's a lot more that we can do. We know that in London, a third of our trips are to and from public transport. This is something that is probably quite similar to Nottingham, but that's a stat that we have that's London specific. And we know that nationally, 1 in 10 of our rides replaces a car journey. So that's some evidence of modal shift. Now, we do have some survey data for Nottingham, but it's quite limited, but this is some of the stats that we have as part of that. So we know that 35% of our users use Lime for commuting and 23% for social outings. We also, in Nottingham, the way we charge with a price per minute, and we also offer passes. And those passes are like, you hire for an hour, so you get a pass for an hour and you can use it over 3 days. Or you can use it for 2 hours and use it over 3 days, and et cetera, and they can go up to like a number of hours that can be used over a month. The pass usage in Nottingham is really high, so we know that people that use our passes tend to be using our services much more frequently, obviously, and therefore it's more likely to be commuting as well. So that's like some evidence base as well as the survey result. When asked why people use Lime, 40% said it was around speed, 45% said it was around convenience, 29% said it was around fun, which is always good. I think we always forget about the importance of joy and fun when cycling. And then also 29% around sustainability as well. And then when asked how has Lime positively impacted Nottingham, 100% of those asked said it improved the accessibility of getting around the city. 100% of those asked said it improved the environmental benefits. Had environmental benefits to the city. 83% said it improved their urban life, and 75% said it was more likely to make them visit local businesses. So I wanted to end on some nice rider stories that we collected last year, where we got users to basically write in and tell us about their different experiences. So using Lime as a faster, cheaper alternative to get to public transport, some funny wording in there. Lime into work every morning. There is obviously, getting there early in the morning. They've got shift work. It just increases the speed. We get a lot of people using us for early morning commuting in particular, when they know that maybe can't get different types of public transport. Getting to know their area, trying to cut down on different public transport times. There's a lot of different reasons why people use Lime. Thanks. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and then I've given a bit of time for questions. So I don't know how Helen, you want to run this?
Thank you. Yeah. There's some really good stats in there. I was really interested about 1 in 10 rides replacing a car journey. I think that's really interesting, and especially when you link it into then people saying it gives them better access to the local high streets and better access to their community. It could really change the profile of the way that people are moving around their local spaces and spending money, which is really interesting. So I'm going to open the floor to any questions or comments from anybody at all. While we are just waiting for people, Alice, I wondered whether you've got any information about how it interacts with walking. So, do people typically walk as much, or are they giving up some of their walking journeys for the Lime bikes? Does it have much kind of knock-on impact on walking, or is it predominantly on car journeys that you focus on?
It's a mix. I wouldn't say that like it doesn't take away from walking journeys, because like people do choose to use Lime over walking, but I think transport is about offering choice, and like a lot of the time people want to maybe are in a rush and they get a bike instead of walking. That's how I envisage those decisions are made. These things come hand in hand, and we all see a lot of we do see a lot of our journeys as bikes at sort of last mile as well. So it's about different times, and I think the wound safety point is a really good angle, because it's a really good point, because we know that the women that do use our service, when asked about why they use it, a lot of it is around safety. A lot of it is door to door, getting to where they want to be and not having to walk in the dark, not having, especially when it's in the long winter, shift work, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. Laura, I think you've got your hand up, or had your hand up.
Yeah. So my question was around the sort of mapping of where people are cycling most. So what streets are the busiest with Lime bikes? Because obviously sort of from the walking pedestrian element is like, how is that sort of impacting the busy times with pedestrians as well? And just really interested around sort of where people are using them the most, and sort of how frequently and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so we have like heat maps that we provide to the council that show a little bit where people are cycling. We see the strongest usage we see is around the university and the city centre. So in the city centre there is a lot, and there's obviously going to be concern around bikes and pedestrianising shared spaces, and I think that's something that we're really aware of. We work with the council therefore to make sure that we put in like go slow zones in areas where there are cross shared spaces, basically, whereas pedestrians and there's bikes, because they only go 15 miles an hour, but that's still quite high, and they can get reduced down even further. But yeah, I would say the strongest uses we have is very much the sort of central city centre, and then around the university and the path to getting between.
Right, thank you. I think we've got a question from Carol as well.
Hi, yeah. My question is about the bikes that are found in the canal, and I just wondered what kind of education they're giving, how you talk to the people that are using the bikes about how dangerous this is. What are your plans moving forward?
Yeah, because I know that there's been an ongoing sort of issue around the canals and rivers, and you have to forgive me because I've been on holiday for 2 weeks and come back to this a bit more. But like, we're currently working with Canal and Rivers Trust, but also like Environment Protection Agency, on vehicles in bodies of water. We just try and geofence around the canals. It's just quite hard because they're quite narrow paths. The thing that we see the most around canals is actually around antisocial behaviour. So people who basically who are not users but find vehicles and then want to dump them into the canal, break the vehicles, etc. So some of the work we're doing is with the police as well on improving how we can tackle vandalism in the city. But yeah, we do a lot of education in terms of our users on how to ride safely, riding with a helmet, where to cycle, where not to cycle, etc. And I know on the sort of Canal Rivers Trust point, there's a separate piece of work going on there on how we, as not a national approach to how we work around the canals.
Thank you. Tracy, can I come to you for your comment as well, please?
Yeah, thank you. Just wondering, there's a lot of work being done at the moment on new cycle paths. So do you have a lot of impact with the council as to where the new cycle paths are going to be? Are they the areas that you're identifying, and what influence you have over that? And also, just another quick point, just on older people. See, I'm an Age UK, and I know of people on my walks that would also benefit from maybe cycling to those walks when they're not in that area. So, but that'll be a confidence thing. I'm a 55-year-old electrical biker. I've got one myself, use an awful lot, bit of confidence to start with. So any plans on that, really? So a couple of things.
Yeah, so we have no impact, like we have no influence into Nottingham's cycling strategy, I would say, but we provide things like heat maps and data that they can then use to basically put cycle lanes in. So like I wouldn't say to Jenny and Ross, this is where a cycle lane should go, but they can see from the data that maybe that's where it should go. So like, yeah, it's not something we're involved in directly, but it's very much something that we want to support. The benefit of using a service like Lime is that we're a data-led company, and we want to be able to provide that data in partnership to set up active travel schemes and develop active travel strategies. And that's like the benefit of our service. So yeah, that's a very big thing. In terms of older users, I mean, it's definitely 100%. And one of the things that I think is so good about e-bikes is they provide access to cycling, like they provide accessibility benefits. So I reference London, but it's mainly because London is by far our biggest service, and therefore we just have a lot more data on it. But we know in London that 20% of our users have never cycled before, but 60% go on to cycle more as a result. So like often people try, they try and cycle, they try and learn how to use the service, and then they from that go on and get their own bike, or they feel more confident. But I do agree that getting on that bike initially is a big confidence issue. So it's like working out if we can do some cycle training. No, Helen, we've discussed this before, but it's mainly capacity from my side as we basically hire someone to take over Nottingham.
I'm on a meeting on Teams at the same time, so
Oh, not sure where that came from.
That's right. But yeah, I mean, it's so it's something that it's definitely something that we're interested in. If you have any ideas or you have any suggestions or organisations that you can do that are interested in something like that, I'd be happy to also talk about it.
We've just got two last quick questions because I'm mindful of the time. But one of them's come in on the chat, Alice, and it's just a quick question that says, are there any plans to introduce Lime bikes into Nottinghamshire?
Big questions. So we've had a bit of a trial with Broxtowe. The issue is that we need an agreement, and that is something that we'd like to do, but we have to have negotiations and conversations with the councils, whether that's local councils like Broxtowe and Rushcliffe. Broxtowe, so we set up a mini pilot, so that's in Beeston, because that's where a lot of usage wants to go. We'd love to in the future, but I think it's not something that's too open right now.
Thank you. And then I think we have a hand raised from Samuel. Samuel, do you want to give us our last question? Hi.
Hello. Hi, Helen. Hi, Alice. Alice, I was inspired by the comment made just a moment ago about so people going to walks, so maybe slightly older people going to walks, and that cycling would be a great way to get there. And I think adding choice is just so brilliant, so wonderful. I just wondered, do you have a breakdown of demographics who use the bikes currently in Nottingham? I'm just looking at ways of trying to break down barriers to get more people walking and also cycling, and who uses it at the moment? Have you got the ability to break down access?
We don't have that data currently. I have some survey data that says ages, but it's not. I wouldn't say the sample size is big enough to really do the thing is. But it's something that definitely we want to do wider pieces of work on. We know our average user is around 34 nationally, which I think people are always surprised by, because I think they think it's a much younger demographic. So it is used by lots of different people. But yeah, I can see that we have some national data as well that's maybe a bit more broad.
I just wondered, Alice, is it possible to pull out those statistics to dive into the deeper hive mind of Lyme and pull out the demographic data? Is that possible? Is it collected?
So it's not collected outside survey data. So
okay.
Yeah, so when you sign up to Lyme, you don't give that data.
Okay, yeah.
Survey data. So that's why we don't have a lot of it, because we're getting people to give it to us, and that's how
I see. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Brilliant. Alice, thank you so much for that. It's really interesting, and there's some really interesting stats in there, I think, that probably challenge the way that we think about micromobility and e-bikes and how they interact. So that's really, really very welcome. Thank you for taking the time to join us and for answering all the questions as well. Thank you.
No worries
Right.
at all. Thank you very much for having me. I'll probably just drop off now. So thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks, Alice. Bye. Okay, right. Well, moving straight on, I think that was really interesting. There was definitely some stuff in there that surprises me, and it's great to hear about some of those learnings about people that go on to, they use the bikes and they've not been on bikes regularly before, but then they do go on to cycle more regularly, and also that kind of interaction with walking as well, about getting from one place to the next, because it is always an issue when we do kind of group walks and group activities, how people get to that meeting point in the first place, and that can be really challenging, and it can be expensive, and it can be difficult. So it's really interesting to see that is kind of helping some people to join those gaps up. Okay. I'm going to go into some breakout rooms. Hopefully you can see this agenda point. But as you all know, there is now a new East Midlands County Combined Authority led by Mayor Claire Ward. So the EMCA has been active for a good while now, maybe about a year-ish. And what's come out of that? Lots of different things are coming out of it, and lots of things are happening in the background. But there is now in post an active travel ambassador, Alan Simpson, who maybe you might have met. He's very active at the moment. He's very kind of engaged, and he's really, really keen to learn about best practice. So when we were looking at this agenda, what we were looking at is how we can represent the things that are happening within this group that we would like to prioritise and ensure that EMCA have a view of. So in the longer term, there will be funding that comes out through East Midlands Combined County Authority, but also they will help to set kind of some of the priorities across the East Midlands region. And this group felt like it was a really, really good example of where great things are happening, where things are happening and they're having real traction, and where we want to be able to kind of shine a spotlight on in terms of supporting EMCA in seeing some of those things that are happening. So best practice, activities, evidence that things are working. And we wanted to use breakout sessions as a way to gather some of that information from you so that we can pull together some examples of best practice and share those where other people might be able to learn from them, but also to put together a wish list of what we would like to see happen. And that's always the real difficult thing. There's lots and lots of things, I'm sure, and it would be very difficult to get a top 5 wish list. But what we're going to do in the breakout rooms is discuss what is happening at the moment. Is there evidence from really crucially, can it be replicated? So if you've got a project that's really taken hold and has really kind of given some great results, is that something that other regions in the EMCA area might be able to kind of benefit from? Are there learnings that we can share? And crucially, what would we like to see happen? What would we like to engage with EMCA in the future? So I think Rebecca is going to put us into breakout rooms where hopefully I think you should have one of the team in each room who will kind of make some notes. And then at the end of that, we will all draw back into this main room. So I think you should have seen the thing that tells us we've got 10 seconds before we break out. We'll come back into this room at about 1:15.
Just a really good bit
That's the way it always goes, isn't it? When you're in a breakout session, you've just warmed up and you've got halfway through a really good bit, and then the meeting rooms come back. Hopefully, you had enough time during that session, though, to be able to talk through some of the things that we set out in the questions at the beginning. So hopefully, you got to talk about some things that were happening in your areas that were successful, things that you'd really like to share, things that could be replicated. In my group, we talked about some of the activities that have happened across Nottingham City for walking and also cycling. We talked about infrastructure. We also touched on kind of the use of the canal and river network. And we importantly touched also on changes in the highway code, and pedestrians feeling like they own the spaces that they're in. So I'm really looking forward to seeing everybody's feedback as they're collated across the board on that. But hopefully you got enough time to be able to go through that initially anyway. If there is anything that you didn't get a chance to mention during the session, then please do feel free to pop it in the chat or email us with it afterwards, and we'll make sure that that's still collated. And then all of those responses will be put together, and we'll put it into one document that we can engage the combined authority and the new travel ambassador with, to try and share those learnings and get visibility of things that we think are working really well. Okay, moving swiftly on then. So the next section on the agenda is around the walking festival. So as you'll know, the very first kind of walking festival in Nottingham and Nottinghamshire is due to happen in May. I know that Sarah and Laura have been very busily working to kind of make that a real success. And you'll remember that in the previous session, in real time, in the previous one of these meetings, in real time, we populated the May date, which was a staggering thing because we had a diary of all the dates in May, and partners were able to put into that what's happening in their areas, what they'd really like to shout about. And I think one of the big things that came out of that, Laura, was how much stuff there is. So collectively across all partners, there was so much stuff going on. We did not struggle to fill a whole month worth of communication opportunities. So I'm going to hand over to Laura and Sarah for them to talk more about the festival.
Fabulous. Thanks ever so much, Helen. So yeah, Walk Nots Festival starts tomorrow. Tomorrow, the big day, the 1st of May, just in line with National Walking Month as well. So hopefully across the country, lots of people will be working on walking more. I've just popped a link into the chat for the Walk Nots website. I'm going to put a slight clause on the website at the moment, in that we have some development, last minute development going on today and tomorrow, that are pulling all of the walks into one space for walking with others, because we've had to split them over the last month or so just because of some technical issues. So we're sorting all that out very last minute over today and tomorrow to make sure that everybody can find walks that are happening across Nottingham and Nottinghamshire over the next month and into the future. We've tried to capture all of the walks that we know that are going on across the city and across the county, but we're also working a little bit more strategically as well, and trying to get people to send the messages out amongst their staff teams, amongst their communities, to sort of get out and walk and wheel more across not just the month of May, but in general, to sort of use the month of May as a bit of a spark to get people moving more in general, and to try out those new things, those new routes that they've wanted to try. And to do that, on the festival page, we do have some resources to help out with that. We've got some challenges that community groups or staff teams can use, such as steps around Nottingham City and around Nottingham County. We've got a couple of resources on there where you can download them, and as a team you can decide in the next week or 2 weeks to walk around the county and count your steps, and off you go and see how far you get, and see where you are each day. Some people are doing bigger challenges than that as well, seeing how far they can get across the globe, visiting different areas. I know here at the Active Partners Trust, we found out where our 2 furthest members of staff were born. They're in the different parts of the world. And as a team, we're walking from Newcastle to Sri Lanka over, which is a very long way, by the way. We may not do it in a month, but we're going to try. It may take a little bit longer. So there's lots and lots of things that people can do and ways that people can get involved. We've got some bingo cards that are just full of ideas of what people can do to get out more, whether that's sort of just a short walk from their doorstep, or whether it's going into a park or exploring places locally to themselves. So yeah, can I just see who here has heard of the Walk Knots Festival already, and who here, yeah, look at that, lots of hands, I love that. Amazing. Who here is planning on doing something related to the festival over the next month to 2 months? Yes. Oh, that makes me happy. Excellent. Oh, so many hands up. That is absolutely fabulous. What we have found and what we have learned from doing this is that having something for everyone to work towards as that common cause has really brought people together and really sort of got people to step up and take action around getting people moving and walking more throughout the month. And that has been really, really lovely to see. We sort of expected this festival to start really small and build gradually over time. And it's grown legs and walked itself, which is absolutely fantastic. We've got people coming and doing their own festivals. We've got lots of community groups who have activities that don't involve walking, putting those opportunities for movement in, which is great. And that connectivity has really, really shone. Sarah, do you want to come in?
Yeah, it's been exciting, hasn't it, Laura? So many things that are happening in terms of the like the walking groups, etc. Also really good, like with the councils as well, that we've had some new footpaths put in, we've had some new nature trails put in. We're hearing from healthcare how some of the doctors are kind of like walking with their patients, how they're training up some of the PPGs to be walk leaders, to be able to kind of like lead walks from the surgeries. Dan's on the call today. He's got this this app where you can actually do virtual walks as well. So we're really trying to help people, like move around a lot more in the comfort of their own homes. And so by being able to kind of like look at a walk in another part of the country and be able to just do a little bit of stepping at the sofa while they're doing that is really lovely, and hopefully that will give them the confidence to maybe just kind of like be able to venture out their front door and go a little bit further. So it's been brilliant, hasn't it? The way that so many different groups are embracing this, and schools kind of like doing the Walk to School week and the week of the 19th of May.
And Laura, I know I mentioned it at the beginning, but I mentioned it at the last session, but we were able to secure some sponsorship from ACOM to run a walk leader training course, an online walk leader training course, which I know I kind of circulated to everybody here, and it was just amazing. 15 people signed up within the first couple of days, and it's completely booked out, which is brilliant because those people are coming from community venues and community partners, and it's just kind of it surpassed what we'd hoped in that time frame. So there's real appetite out there for it.
It's amazing.
I've got one more thing to pop in, and also very exciting. So with Public Health, the spatial planning team are launching their health impact assessment framework in May, and they're actually putting in a report on how to integrate walkable and wheelable communities into that. So that will be a document that planners will use when they're putting in kind of like new housing or retail developments.
Brilliant.
And just sorry.
Yeah, so if I can add one more thing, you know what, it's just completely left my brain.
While it comes back to you, Laura, I was just going to say at the end of May at Ridewise, we are doing all of our team meetings as walk and talks. It's so simple. We were going to meet anyway. We were going to do it anyway. We were going to spend that hour together. But during the last week and a half, we'll be doing them all walking while we are talking to get the benefit of it. And it just kind of shows that you don't really have to do something that takes you away from what you would be doing normally, it can be integrated. And we are going to take some photographs and share those as we're doing them, because it's just such a simple way of getting people together. And there's kind of a real joy. I mean, it sounds really twee, but there is a genuine joy in it. So I know from my team, a walk and talk team meeting has a different impact to kind of the ones that we normally do where we're logging in on Zoom or whatever. So it's a really easy way to kind of get people out and also be able to show what your organisation's doing as part of the walking festival.
Thank you very much.
Fabulous.
Oh, that was it. It was walk leaders. The walk leaders across the city and the county have absolutely embraced the idea of the walking festival and have put on additional walks across the board, whether it be wildlife walks, you know, sunrise walks, they've got history walks, absolutely everything you can think of is going on. And so far, I think we've got 108 walks, 108 groups doing walks across May, and they may be doing more than one walk. That's just organised, publicly accessible walks. There's a lot more going on apart from that, and that is just epic. Really, really, just blow my mind.
That's fantastic, isn't it? And it's all come from well, the little gems, the nuggets have come from this group, which is brilliant. Okay. Right, so thank you, Laura. Thank you, Sarah. I'm just mindful of the time and the agenda, and we're at that point at the end where we're summing up. So I think we've kind of managed to sum up as we've been going along, but just reflecting on what we've talked about over the last hour or hour and a half. If you do have any questions for Lyme, Alice is really happy to take those. So you can always drop us an email or drop it in the chat, and we'd be more than happy to facilitate those conversations with Lyme. Yeah, if there is anything, please do pop it in there. We will be gathering all of that feedback from the breakout rooms so that we can start to engage with Emka around the things that we really want to be able to share and the things that we're really looking forward to seeing in the future. And you will see, no doubt, lots and lots about the Walking Festival from tomorrow. And then every day for the remainder of May, and then hopefully lots in June as we reflect on the success from May. But Laura, I know you, and Sarah, I know you'll both kind of keep everyone posted, and I'm sure there will be some debriefing afterwards to look at what's happened and the success of the month. The very last thing then is there is a couple of little videos that I think Rebecca is going to play for us. Before we start those, or one video, sorry. Before we start those, if anybody does have any questions, please pop your hand up or pop it in the chat, just in case people leave us at the end of the video. So if there is anything else, then please do pop it out there or let us know. And if not, then thank you all for your time and for your input. And we're all really looking forward to the Walking Festival starting next month. I think it's a brilliant achievement that through these groups we've been able to get something that kind of covers the whole city and county area and has such a eclectic and really rich and diverse range of walks and walking supportive activities. So a big thank you from all of us. So Rebecca, are you able to play this short video, please? Thank you, and thank you everyone for your time.
Can everyone see that? Could most people see it?
Okay. I've popped the link, or at least where it takes me to, into the chat, but we can circulate that separately if there is anyone that struggles to access that link. And I think that brings us to a close. Bang on time. time, which is brilliant. So thank you all so much. Please don't hesitate to get in touch if there's anything else that you'd like to add or you've got any questions. And we all look forward to a very happy and successful walking festival starting from tomorrow, May. Thank you everybody for your time. Speak to you soon. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye.